Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about dealing with your coworkers and navigating this field of medical coding with them. I am Blue. If you're just joining me, I'm a medical coder. I have been a medical coder for over 10 years. I created my channel with the hopes of sharing all of my experiences with all of you, so that way hopefully you'll learn some coding tips and ideas, or you'll learn from my mistakes. So if you take a second, please, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button. I hope that you'll like this, and by the end, I hope that you will share it with your friends if this helps you. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, now navigating the workplace with your coworkers. Yes, there are going to be some people that really love you, and there's going to be some people that you're not their favorite person. Your brand of magic is not for everyone. Okay, that's the first thing that you should remember. Okay, now the reason that I say this is this: everything when you are looking at the big picture, right, of being around your coworkers, and sometimes people will make things so stressful. Just keep this in mind, that it's not about you. It's about them. That is what is called outward thinking, okay? I learned this from the Arbinger Institute. Now, I talk about the Arbinger Institute quite often in my videos because their training has literally changed my life when it comes to thinking about difficult coworkers or people who are a little bit harder to handle. And the thing about it is, when I say the outward thinking, it's not about me, it's about others. When you have a coworker who is just particularly not friendly, perhaps they are very aggressive and abrasive, you have a choice. You have a choice. You do not have to subject yourself to that energy, especially if you have your own desk or your own office. And yeah, sometimes you'll have to deal with them in a group setting, but it is important to remain professional. Trust me, I know sometimes it is very difficult to remain professional. But the thing about it is, when you can achieve this higher level of professionalism, right, the upper echelon of professionalism, which is having full control over your emotions when it is so hard sometimes, right? When you are still polite to people who are rude to you, when you can see everything equally, as far as like you're taking your own personal bias out of a situation. You may not particularly care for a person because of their behavior or how they act, or how they do things, but it's on them. They are responsible for themselves. You are responsible for you. This took me some time to learn, because believe me, when I've had coworkers who have left me in the lurch, as far as like they leave me with the hardest work, and they leave me with the most difficult charts, or they try to pass off responsibility to me, you might think that, oh gosh, this person just sort of sped through all of these easy charts and they left me with all of the hard charts. And now I'm stuck and it looks like I'm taking forever and I'm taking my time, and I'm really not. I'm just trying to hurry up. The thing about it is, when you get left with the hard stuff, it's good and it's bad. Let's look at it in a glass half full type scenario, okay? If your coworkers leave you with the hard stuff, number one, yes, it's not fair. We can all agree to that. That's not fair. But what goes around comes around. Trust me. And it will be, you can see when people are really looking and diving into these situations where they have to look and see somebody's productivity, if they're maintaining productivity or what's going on, the complexity of the records gets taken into account 99% of the time, okay? So as long as you're not trying to like drag your feet or anything like that because you're upset because you don't want to have to do hard stuff, think about it like this. The more hard stuff that you do and the more that people don't want to do it and you end up having to do it, the stronger you're going to get as a medical coder. Believe me, I am a stronger coder today because of this. I have had the experience of working with a supervisor who I was able to get off of her team because we were not meshing well at all. And it was on her end, it was not on my end. And I did request to move. I had to go through a lot. as far as like I was compliant. I did all of the things that was asked of me. But this supervisor just had a personal thing against me. And I won't get into the reason why, but believe me, it was very petty. But I still dealt with it. I still showed up every day, no matter how much, no matter how she was with me, how mean or anything like that she was with me, I was still there. I still showed up every day. I was still professional. I did not go out of my way to be nice or anything. I just was polite, and I answered her when she responded to me or when she talked to me. And that is something that it was very difficult for me to go through. But I held on, because when you have to deal with things like that, when you have to deal with people who are aggressive or who are mean, you have to stand up for yourself. And I learned a lot about standing up for myself at that time as well, because all I could think of was, I've been such a good employee. I've actually helped this supervisor. I don't understand why I'm getting punished, But again, her reasons were very petty, and it's okay, and now I can say that it's okay, because when I was able to be removed from her team, at my request, she did talk with my supervisor, my current supervisor now, actually. And she did sort of try to fill her in on me. And of course, when I first met my supervisor, she was very nice. And she was just like very welcoming. She's a very sweet lady. But then, of course, she had some time with my former supervisor. And then all of a sudden, it was just like, she just seemed to be very cold and very, very not sure of me after that. And then what I did was this. In standing up for myself and still being professional, I told my new supervisor, I need to talk to you. And so she was like, okay, and I said, the thing is, I feel like we are maybe getting at an impasse, and we're new to each other. She goes, yes. And I said, okay, I am a hard worker, and whatever you hear is whatever you hear. I am asking you to let me prove myself and let you see all of the good work that I do. I hope that you won't let any past instances influence your thinking of me. I just want to be given a fair shake. This was me giving my positive, my defense of myself, but in a professional way, to somebody new to me. And so she heard what I said, and she said, okay. She goes, I don't think any less of you. I don't think anything bad of you. And I said, it's fine, but I just want to tell you what I'm thinking, I said, this is a professional environment. I love being a medical coder. I enjoy what I do. But it has been a very difficult time. And you being a new supervisor, of course, getting me, I understand that you would, have your hesitations. I said, but the thing about it is, I just hope that you'll give me a chance to prove myself in a positive environment. And so she said, of course. So I had been given a lot of hard stuff because the former supervisor was assisting my new supervisor with what assignments to give me. And so, of course, the new supervisor, just being brand new, didn't know what assignments needed to be given. And of course, the old supervisor did. So I got all of the hard stuff. And then I had gotten a lot of surgeries. So I said, okay. I hadn't done surgeries, like a lot of surgery coding at that time. I had done inpatient professional service rounds, which I did a little bit, but not a whole lot. And so this was like, okay, this is a challenge. All right, but this was, I don't know if it was, I don't want to say it was punishment for leaving her team, but I felt like it was. And the thing is, I said, okay, I know that I have all of this very, seemingly difficult stuff to do. That's okay. I can do it. And this was spinal surgeries that I had to do. So a lot of laminectomies and things like that. So, okay, no problem. I can do it. And I believe that in myself. I was having a new supervisor, so I didn't have to worry about being harassed or anything like that, as far as like what I had gone through with my previous supervisor, because it was bad, you know. But again, it was on her. It was her personality that was a clash with mine, you know. So I ended up uh, learning. I literally was like learning how to do all these surgeries on the fly. And all I wanted to do was just show that I am a good employee, and that no matter what anybody says, I don't have to explain anything that happened with my former supervisor to my new supervisor. I need her to see me and my abilities as a good coder. And so I started coding surgeries, and I started working with the pain clinic, and I started working with the neurology clinic, and everybody was shying away from those clinics. Nobody wanted to work with those clinics, but I got them. And I said, okay, you know, I said, I'll do this. So again, through that experience, I got put in these hard clinics. I started to learn more, and I started to really push myself and try to absorb as much information as I could, and I got faster. And I said, okay, this was a good challenge. You know, I ended up learning more because people thought, or she thought, that I would just give up and move on to another job, but I didn't. You have to show up every day. That is the most important thing. When you are dealing with people that are difficult, show up every day. And even though it may be difficult and it may be hard, think about it like this. Whatever is going on with them, that is their own personal situation, their own personal trials that they're going through. This woman was obviously going through many trials. Of course, I was going through trials at the time too, but my escape was working. My escape was learning more about medical coding. That was my escape. So that was where I had my mind on my mission, which was to be a very good medical coder and to learn more and to advance myself. That was my goal. So when you start to have a goal in mind, you can sort of put people who make you uncomfortable or people who are difficult to deal with, you can sort of put that in the back of your mind. And when you make up your mind that you are going to remain professional, that you are going to be as least emotional as you possibly can, okay? At least in the moments when it really does count. And in the moments that it does count is like when you are in that situation with a person and they are trying to do things to provoke you to get upset, and you don't let it. And you sit there and you remain calm. And whatever you have to do, if you have to imagine yourself a million miles away, or if you have to think about who all your work is impacting, okay, then hopefully that will give you some sort of strength to sort of get through that situation. Now, when my most recent situations that I had to deal with was my partner for my clinics. At the time, me and her worked in those clinics together, and she did a lot of things that were not right, you know, and it was very difficult. She would come in with excessive perfume, and I'm an asthmatic, and she knew I was an asthmatic, and it would chronically set off my asthma. And so it's like, okay, you're playing with my health now, right? You know, really? So, you know, I would tell my supervisor, and it's going to go back to the leadership, which is really sort of, it works hand in hand. If you have a good leader, these things are squashed just like that. If you have a leader that doesn't really want to do a lot of confrontation, and confrontation in the sense of that they want to face the problem head on, because some people just don't know how to have those people skills to do that. And some leaders don't have that, you know, unfortunately. And not all leaders are created equally, just like all medical coders are not created equally, okay? And because of this, right, you have to sort of work with your own thought process, and which is why I always recommend reading the Arbinger Institute books. I will put them on my Instagram page so that way you guys can look at those. And if you have a chance to read them, you know, because it really does help you frame your thinking in your mind when you get into these situations, because inevitably you will. It's impossible, and it would be unrealistic to think that you would always be able to get along with everybody. And some people go along to get along, and that works for some people. For people like me who can't really do that, because if somebody's doing something wrong, I'm not going to go along with them just to get along with them. And my partner at the time did do a lot of things that were wrong, and I would refuse to go along to get along. And because of that, it caused a lot of friction between her and I. And trying to maintain that professional demeanor and trying to maintain all of that was extremely hard. There was times when I did cry. I mean, I would cry in front of her because I would get so frustrated, and I would get to the point where I'm just trying to work. And you want to do all of these other things, and you want to do everything but the hard stuff. You don't want to do the heavy lifting. You don't want to do a lot of these things. And, she reported me. We had meetings with our boss and everything. And, our boss was like, well, Blue, you really should, just take some time to talk to her. You guys are working in the same office. Yes, we are working in the same office. But I have tried this. I have tried to be, okay, I will just talk to you for a few minutes, and then I will get back to my work. Talking for a few minutes with somebody that wants to talk all day doesn't work. And then when they do things like talk on the phone all day to try to distract you, or you have to turn your headphones up, or you get attitude from them because you've been trying to concentrate and they feel ignored, it is hard, And so, like I told my boss, I was like, I can't. If you want me to do my work, then I need the ability to be able to do my work, which is I don't need to have to deal with things like this. I have to stand up for myself, and I have to be able to say, I can't work like this, especially with somebody that is clearly not working, because my motivation remains with my providers. That's where my motivation is. And so, my boss listened to me, and she listened to my coworker. People do in their careers and in their time as working, that is going to irritate you. There's going to be things that, you can't control. But what you can control is yourself and your emotions. And that's something that I'm still learning to do that to this day. And it is about learning to control your emotions. But having a goal in mind is really what is the driver, okay? And that is my main advice for today, because every situation is going to be different when it comes to dealing with coworkers, and in particularly coworkers that are a little bit more difficult to deal with than others. When you have to deal with people like that, it is going to really depend on your response to them. In which, if you have it in your mind that their situation and them being difficult is not about you, it's about them. It's what makes them them. You don't have to respond to it. You don't have to engage with it. You can remove yourself and surround yourself with more positive energy. And if there's no positive energy, then you can just remove yourself and just concentrate on what you have to do. Sometimes this is difficult. We are social creatures, in the human race. We are naturally social in some form. Some people are very introvert, and that's okay. But because we are all social, not but if, because we are social, it does give to those feelings of, isolation when, we feel like we're, being ganged up on and there's cliques and things like that. But the only way to deal with that is to, like I said, know your own response, know what your triggers are. And if you feel like somebody just has an attitude or something, you can remove yourself from that situation. Don't engage with gossip. Don't be part of that, that negative narrative. Don't be a part of that, okay? Because you wouldn't want somebody to talk about you. And it is all about the tone that you set as well. If you're setting the tone of, I don't gossip, I'm not talking about other people behind their back, I'm keeping my personal issues and things to myself. Because the more you put out, You never know who's listening to you, and you never know who is friend or foe. And even if you have people around you that are smiling and nice to you, you never know what's going on behind the scenes, okay? So especially if you don't know the people, you should really keep a lot of what goes on with you personally to your inner group of friends, okay? When it comes to coworkers in the workplace, it really does have a lot to do with what and how much you're sharing. If you're sharing all the time that you have a bad marriage, or your boyfriend is mean or your girlfriend is mean, people are going to use those things, okay? And you don't want to give people more information than they need, because then that's when you start having issues at work. Now, I am very very private about what goes on in my private life at work, because at one time I did mention that I was going out on a date because somebody asked me why I was dressed up, because I had a curl in my hair, and I was going out that evening, like straight after work. And I did mention in passing that I was going out on a date. The next week, people were congratulating me for being engaged. Now, come on. You know what I mean? Like, really? That's how gossip spreads. And because I give people so little in my workspace, that they just latched onto it, so that was part of that. But that just cemented the reason why I don't share anything at work, as far as like, my own personal life. You guys see me, I don't really share too much of my own personal life on my channel. I do share some, but not I really sort of focus on like medical coding and the things that go on with medical coding. Like I said, some personal things, but not a whole lot. And sometimes people will criticize you for it. You will be criticized. The more you're given, the more gifts you're given, as far as like being able to do research really well, or do presentations really well, things like that, you are going to get criticism from people. And I really hate the expression, let it roll off your back like a duck, water off a duck's back or whatever. I can't stand that. I hate that expression, because to me it's sort of annoying. But when you learn how to grow a thicker skin, as far as like taking that criticism, it is going to be easier for you, and especially to deal with difficult coworkers, because like I said, sometimes you are going to run into those times when you're going to meet somebody who has the same sort of personality that you do, or appears to have the same personality that you do. Somebody who is just plain rude is not an alpha personality. That's just an insecure person. There's a difference there. Now, if you have somebody that's self-assured and very secure, that's the alpha personality. So learn to know the difference between the two. If you see somebody that is attitude and they're just sour face, get away from those people, because they do nothing but bring the energy down. And like I said, not everybody's going to appreciate your brand of magic. So you just have to be able to keep those things in mind. Know and know the people that are supporting you. Know the people that are, going to be positive. Positive. Okay. You want to surround yourself with positive people, because it can make the workplace a lot easier, but like I said, learn to stand up for yourself. Don't be aggressive, as far as like, oh, I'm just going to talk loud, so that, everybody knows that I'm here. No. Being confident, you don't have to overcompensate. Okay. You can be very sure of yourself and still be, that quiet confidence, and it's okay. And then sometimes people won't mess with you if they see that you have that quiet confidence, and that has a lot to do with it. So I really do recommend that when you are trying to think of these techniques and trying to work on self-improvement, that you look at like body language books and how you are carrying yourself, because sometimes people will just harass you or say things just because they can. If you look timid, or if you are shy and they feel like they can run over you, there will be people that will do that. When you have that self-confidence, nobody will mess with you, because literally they can't. what can they say to you? I mean, everybody gets the bad end sometimes, you know. And as far as like, you know, people that don't, like I said, don't care for their brand of magic, but you know, it's just something that we all have to deal with. But learning how to control your emotions is the key. And when they say, "Oh, don't let that person make your day bad" or anything like that, it's okay to recognize that somebody just really irritated you, but don't dwell on it, okay? Because, like I said, if you read the Arbinger Institutes, it's all about the outward thinking process. And so when you think outwardly, you're deflecting their energy away that they tried to give you, okay? You're deflecting their energy, and it's really on them. Their attitude and the way that they look at things and their negativity, if they're negative, it's on them. It's not on you. You are in control of all of the things that you feel, okay? So yes, you can feel sadness, you can feel irritation, recognize it, and then move forward and realize I'm showing up for my providers. I'm showing up for myself. I want to get better. I want to be a medical coder. I want to move forward and do something more, bigger. That's my goal. When I have days that are hard for me, I think to myself, I have a bigger goal in mind, which I do. And I'm working on it. I am working on it. I'm not bringing it here just yet because it's part of my process. But I am working on bigger. Okay, I'm always working on bigger because the thing is, that's what my driver is. So when I have bad days, or when I have days when I just don't understand why I get treated the way that I do, I think about one of these days I will be in my goal and I will be able to do all the things that I want to do. And this is just part of my shaping process. This is part of my learning process. So that's really what it all boils down to. You have to have all of these experiences, and even experiences with tough coworkers, to get to the good, to get to the good, get to the good times. And that's really what it all boils down to, right? So remember to show up every day. Be present in what you are doing. Be present in the coding, and don't let anybody get you down, okay? Because that's on them. If you get hard stuff, just remember that you're going to be a stronger coder because of it. You are going to be able to do lots of things. And again, with my old supervisor, I know I surpassed a lot of the things that she thought that would bring me down, but I'm still there. And you know, it's nice to be able to smile and say I'm still here. Of course, I don't say that to her, but I do smile, you know, because she couldn't get rid of me. I was still there. And that was one thing I dug my heels in. And you have to be stubborn when you're standing up for yourself, okay? So remember to be professional. Look at the books from the Arbinger Institute that I post. If you have a chance to check them out, or read some excerpts about, you know, body language, things like that. Learn to develop and work on yourself, okay? Because trust me, it will help you, okay? So that's my advice. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions, if you have any ideas for episodes, let me know. Comment below. Give the video a thumbs up, and I will see y'all in the next episode. So if you are a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. I will see y'all next time. Bye.